I settled into my leather chair at the emergency investors meeting, my limited edition Birkin bag placed deliberately on the conference table. 6 months ago, I'd sat in my parents' living room explaining my business plan for luxury handbag resale, only to have Dad scoff. "That's not a real company, Jessica. Stop playing entrepreneur and get a proper job." Now, watching him squirm at the head of the table, trying to explain why his proper manufacturing company needed an urgent cash injection, I couldn't help but appreciate life's sense of irony. "The situation is temporary," Dad assured the room full of potential investors, his voice lacking its usual confidence. "Chen Manufacturing just needs bridge funding to modernize our facilities." "Bridge funding?" A venture capitalist interrupted. "Mr. Chen, you need a miracle. Your company's bleeding money, your technology's outdated, and your market share's dropping faster than last season's knockoff bags." I smiled at the unintentional comparison, remembering Mom's words. Selling used handbags? What will our friends think? They'd think I was worth $300 million, actually. Though my family didn't know that yet. "If we could just explain our modernization plan," Dad's CFO started shuffling papers. "No need," I spoke up for the first time, enjoying how Dad's head snapped around at my voice. "I've already reviewed it. The plan's as outdated as your factory equipment." "Jessica." Dad's face flickered between shock and embarrassment. "What are you doing here? This is a private meeting for serious investors." "Serious investors?" I opened my Birkin, pulling out my tablet. "Like the kind who have $50 million in liquid capital ready to deploy?" The room went silent. Dad's CFO dropped his papers. "Because," I continued, pulling up my company's financials, "Lux Second Life did $600 million in revenue last year. That's what happens when you understand modern luxury markets instead of dismissing them as not real business." "Lux Second Life?" The venture capitalist leaned forward. "You're Chen? The founder who revolutionized luxury resale." "The same," I smiled, watching Dad's face pale as realization dawned. "Though my family still thinks I'm playing shop with designer bags." Mom had used those exact words at Christmas dinner, right before announcing my brother's promotion to middle management at a local bank. "Now that's a real career," she beamed. "Your daughter is Chen?" Another investor asked Dad incredulously. "The Chen who built a platform that's disrupting the entire luxury goods industry?" Dad's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. "The very same," I confirmed, standing up. "And now that we've established my credentials, let's talk about why Chen Manufacturing is really failing. It's not just about outdated equipment." I walked to the presentation screen, pulling up my analysis. "Your entire business model is obsolete. You're trying to compete with overseas manufacturers on price, while ignoring the digital transformation of supply chains." I clicked through slides of data. "The same mistake you made when you dismissed online luxury resale as not a real business." The room was silent now, all eyes moving between me and my father. The daughter he'd laughed at was now his company's potential savior. "So," I closed my tablet, picking up my Birkin, "the question isn't whether Chen Manufacturing needs bridge funding. The question is, are you ready to admit that your daughter might know something about modern business after all?" "Let's talk numbers," I continued, watching Dad sink lower in his chair. "Chen Manufacturing needs $50 million for modernization. But your real problem isn't capital, it's vision. Or rather, the lack of it." "Now wait a minute," Dad found his voice. "I've run this company for 30 years. And that's exactly the problem." I pulled up more slides. "For 30 years you've done things the same way. The same processes, the same strategies, the same dismissal of anything new or innovative. Like digital marketplaces. Or your daughter's business ideas." The venture capitalist nodded appreciatively. "Miss Chen, your analysis is spot on." "Of course it is," I smiled. "I learned everything about what not to do in business by watching this company operate. Now shall we discuss my terms?" "Your terms?" Dad's CFO sputtered. "You can't seriously be considering investing in my father's company? The same father who said I was wasting my business degree on used handbags." I opened my Birkin again, extracting a folder. "I'm not just considering it. I've already had my team draw up the paperwork. I distributed copies of my proposal. The room filled with the sound of shuffling papers and sharp intakes of breath as the terms became clear. 51% ownership? Dad's voice cracked. You want controlling interest? Want? Oh, father. I require it. Because unlike you, I don't invest in companies that refuse to innovate. I leaned back, crossing my legs. Consider it a lesson in modern business practices. This is absurd. He stood up, face reddening. I won't let my daughter's handbag money. My handbag money? I cut him off. You mean my company's $600 million in annual revenue? The same company that has a waiting list of venture capitalists begging to invest? That handbag money. The other investors were watching like spectators at a tennis match. Face it, Dad. Your choice isn't between accepting or rejecting my help. It's between accepting my terms or watching your company collapse. I nodded to my assistant, who distributed more documents. These are the contracts with your 3 biggest clients. They're all shifting to digital-first manufacturers next quarter. Without modernization, you'll lose them. Dad fell back into his chair, the fight draining from his face as he realized the truth of my words. And that Rolex you're wearing? I added. The one you bought to celebrate my brother's real career move? I could buy 1,000 of them with last month's profits alone. The venture capitalist cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, your daughter's offer is more than generous. In fact, it's probably your only viable option. There has to be another way, Dad muttered. There isn't. I stood up, smoothing my designer dress. But don't worry. Unlike you, I believe in giving people second chances. Even those who didn't give me one. I walked to the window, looking out at the factory my father had built. The factory that would soon be mine. You have 24 hours to decide, I announced. Though I should warn you, my offer drops by 5 million for every hour you make me wait. Consider it interest on all the times you made me wait while you finished explaining why my business ideas weren't serious enough. 23 hours later, I sat in my penthouse office overlooking the city, my collection of rare Hermes bags displayed behind glass walls, each one representing a milestone in my company's growth. The first Birkin I'd ever resold. The Kelly that paid for my website development. The limited edition that marked our first million in revenue. Your father's here, my assistant announced. Is he alone? No. Your mother and brother are with him. I smiled, remembering the last family dinner I'd attended. Mom had showcased my brother's new company car while pointedly ignoring my announcement about securing series of funding. Send them in. And Clara? Bring the champagne. The crystal from my private collection. They entered like a funeral procession, Dad clutching the investment papers, Mom nervously adjusting her knockoff designer scarf, my brother Michael looking anywhere but at my success. Nice office, Mom managed, eyes widening at my bag collection. Are those all real? Unlike your Gucci scarf? Yes. I gestured to the seats in front of my desk. Each one represents a milestone you missed while celebrating Michael's mundane achievements. My brother flushed. Listen, Jess. That's Miss Chin in this office, I corrected. Or did you forget how you told your banking friends that your sister was playing with purses instead of getting a real job? Clara entered with the champagne, pouring it into crystal flutes worth more than Michael's monthly salary. The papers, Dad placed them on my desk. We accept your terms. All of them. I raised an eyebrow. Including the one about modernizing management? He nodded stiffly. Good. I picked up my pen, solid gold, a gift from a luxury brand suit. Because your current leadership team, including your son, will need to be restructured. What? Michael stood up. You can't fire me. Actually, I can. And I will. I signed the papers with a flourish. Consider it my first act as majority owner. Though I'm sure a real job like yours comes with excellent severance. Mom's hand flew to her throat. Jessica, he's your brother. No, Mother. Right now, he's an underperforming executive in my newly acquired company. Family dynamics don't factor into business decisions. Isn't that what Dad always said? I pressed a button and my team of executives filed in, each carrying tablets loaded with transformation plans. Meet your new management team, I announced. Harvard MBAs, digital natives, and experts in modern manufacturing. Not a single one got their position because of their last name. Dad's face had aged years in minutes. You've planned everything. Of course I have. While you were dismissing my business as playing shop, I was building an empire. While you were bragging about Michael's middle management promotion, I was revolutionizing an industry. And while you were refusing to take my calls, I was preparing to buy your company. I stood up, walking to my bag collection. See this Birkin? I bought it with my first million in profit. This Kelly? Purchased when we hit 100 million in revenue. And this one? I pointed to my newest acquisition. I'll wear it to tomorrow's board meeting, my first as Chen Manufacturing's controlling shareholder. The employees. Mom started. Will keep their jobs, unlike your precious Michael. I'm not heartless, I'm just good at business. Something you might have noticed if you'd ever bothered to actually look at my company. I returned to my desk, pressing another button. On the wall screen, Lux Second Life stock price appeared, along with headlines about our industry disruption. Your daughter, I gestured to the screen, the one you said wasn't running a real company, is now worth more than your entire family combined. How's that for playing with purses? Michael stood up again. This is revenge. You're just angry because... Sit down, I commanded, and was pleased when he did. This isn't revenge. This is business. The business you claimed I didn't understand while you were pushing papers at your middle management job. I lifted my champagne glass. To family. And to the sweet irony of a handbag resale company saving your real manufacturing business. What happens now? Dad asked quietly. Now you learn what modern business actually looks like. You'll report to my team, follow my strategies, and watch as I transform your failing factory into a digital-first manufacturing powerhouse. I smiled. Consider it free business education from your daughter. And Michael? Mom's voice trembled. Can submit his resume through proper channels if he wants to apply for an entry-level position. Though I should warn you, we have very high standards. Son of former owner, isn't quite as impressive as actual qualifications. I pressed another button and my security team appeared. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run. 2 companies actually. Claire will show you out. As they stood to leave, I added, oh, and Mom? That scarf you're wearing? We actually sell the authentic version on our site. Though it might be a bit out of your price range now that Michael's losing his job. After they left, I watched through my security feeds as they walked to their car. Dad's shoulders slumped, Mom wiping tears, Michael looking lost without his executive title. My phone buzzed with notifications. Asterisk, Chen Manufacturing acquisition finalized. Asterisk, luxury resale pioneer expands into manufacturing. Asterisk, J. Chen, the daughter who bought her father's company. I picked up my newest Birkin, a one-of-a-kind piece that cost more than Michael's annual salary. Clara, I called through the intercom, schedule a company-wide meeting for tomorrow. It's time to show Chen Manufacturing what real business looks like. And your family? She asked. They'll learn. Just like I learned watching them dismiss my dreams. Sometimes the biggest success comes from being underestimated. I looked out at the city skyline at the factory in the distance that now belonged to me and smiled. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't serving it cold. Sometimes it's serving it in a Birkin bag.